On April 9th, 2024, John Calipari sent a letter of resignation to Kentucky Athletic Director Mitch Barnhart. And at the same time, he released this video.
The last few weeks, we've come to realize that this program probably needs to hear another voice.
And that kicked off one of the craziest 3-day stretches of any Kentucky basketball offseason.
Scott Drew was number one on the list and was interested enough to have conversations about the job with Kentucky. Internet sleuths found out that his family members were flown to Lexington, leading us all to believe an announcement about the hiring of Drew was coming. But shortly after the Drews returned to Waco, news leaked that Mrs. Drew did not want to move to Lexington. On Thursday morning, Drew released a statement saying that he would stay put at Baylor. Meanwhile, Nate Oates had basically preemptively said no. Attention then turned to the coach who had just won back-to-back national titles, Dan Hurley. Rumors were that Mitch Barnhart threw a ton of money at Dan Hurley, whose wife also said no. And after that, Kentucky fans were split. Some wanted Billy Donovan, some wanted Bruce Pearl, some even wanted Rick Pitino back. I mean, not everyone.
Do you all not remember him leaving us, going to Louisville and do things you cannot do before the sun goes down, and we're going to ask him to come back?
But some. Kentucky fans everywhere were wondering, who will it be?
Then, late Thursday afternoon,
a name appeared seemingly out of nowhere that no one, and I mean no one, was suggesting.
Mark Pope had become the number one target for Mitch Barnhart.
And the backlash was palpable.
Fire Mitch if that happens.
Beyond horrific.
Is this April Fool's Day?
No way we hire Pope.
I'm done if this happens.
I'm not a Let's Revolt guy, but this feels revolt-worthy.
Kentucky fans were furious, even the ones who loved Pope as a player. They were all asking some version of how did Kentucky end up with the BYU coach with no NCAA tournament wins?
Mark Pope is not Billy Gillispie. But if you were to pull up the resumes, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing.
And I kind of hate it for Mark Pope. He's probably, hopefully not checking his phone and seeing the initial fan backlash.
Once it was official, I didn't feel comfortable saying it was a bad hire publicly. So I just put out this shitty little tweet.
But just as we were all about to riot, something made us put our pitchforks down. In the wee hours of the night, a YouTube video began to spread like wildfire throughout the fan base.
53% of their shot attempts in transition have been from behind the arc. Video game type numbers.
It cannot be overstated
what this video did for a fan base who for the last few seasons had seen nothing but negative comments from national media about their coach's play style.
That night,
I probably watched that video 6 times. I shared it with as many people as I could, and I know others did the same. It was the best marketing material that Mitch Barnhart or Mark Pope could have had. It hit on the hardest of pain points for Big Blue Nation. We watched that video, then we looked into it a little more. A complex offensive strategy that no one else is doing? I'll take some of that. 3-point shooting? Yes, please. Analytics? That's our favorite buzzword. I'm all in.
So I went back to KS board, and the mood was different.
We need to give him a chance.
Pope's disciples unite.
I'm 100% in full support now.
But if you were like this guy and you stayed up all night watching highlights from 1996, you may have felt another reason to get behind the hire. Researchers have found that 90s nostalgia is significant right now for more reasons than just millennials are getting older. In 1996, things were relatively good in America. I mean, yeah, there were problems, but we were optimistic about solving them. We looked forward to a new millennium and the technological advances that would come. The Cold War was over, crime was plummeting, the economy was strong, and the American people were much less divided. We all held little to no knowledge of the Middle East, or credit default swaps, or COVID, or Jack Golke, or... yeah, okay, I'll stop now. Jacob Jewell, a nostalgia researcher at the University of Southampton in England, told the Washington Post, "People become nostalgic in response to adversity or psychologically negative states. Nostalgia helps restore people to a psychological equilibrium." And with the hiring of Mark Pope, the dream of the 90s is alive in Lexington.
And that Friday morning, Mark Pope got an endorsement from Rick Pitino.
Today at St. John's, and I couldn't be any more proud than to see Mark Pope lead the Kentucky Wildcats to another championship. He'll get it done.
The vibes continued into Friday afternoon when Mitch Barnhart came on KSR with a call to action.
It's going to be in Rupp Arena, and it is very. So you're going to have the press conference in Rupp Arena. Do you know what day that?
I got a sense that the lower bowl could have been filled, judging by the response online. But I don't think anyone was prepared for what we would witness that day. Kentucky expected at best 10,000 people. They ended up turning away over 5,000. In Rupp Arena, something special was happening.
I mean, who gets 20,000 people for a press conference?
Mark Pope came off the bus holding the 1996 National Championship trophy, and the roof nearly came off the place. From Louisville to Russell County,
bringing Kentucky back together.
From Pikeville to Paducah,
we're going to drive 4.5 hours down from, southern Illinois.
From England.
I'm 26 now, so I've followed Kentucky since, 2011-12, so you're talking at least 10 years now.
To Spain.
I'm a great fan of Kentucky, the number one team in the world,
All over Big Blue Nation, fans celebrated a changing of the guard. Mark Pope then hit on every pain point Kentucky fans have had for years.
Kentucky, I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Months later, I still don't have the words to describe what happened inside of Rupp Arena that day. Maybe it felt like a revival of a program that had not been up to its standard. Maybe it was the years of feeling like we loved something that didn't love us back. I have talked with countless fans about what they took from that day to try to understand it better myself. Some have said nostalgia, some have said it was like an old tent revival, others said it was the moment we took our program back.
Maybe what made it special is that we were done with all of the infighting.
The divisiveness that fractured the fan base was over, and Kentucky fans were once again one body, one voice, one united Big Blue Nation. In the months that followed the press conference, Mark Pope hired a great staff and put together a team from scratch. His enthusiasm and passion for Kentucky really does make him feel like he's one of us. On the night of his first Big Blue Madness, Mark Pope was able to do what I never thought possible. If people become nostalgic in response to adversity, then Kentucky fans were primed for this particular kind of nostalgia. After all of the years of showing vitriol hate for him, Kentucky fans gave Rick Pitino a standing ovation while Rick blew kisses to the stands, a much different hand motion than he gave Kentucky fans the last time he was in Rupp. Many inside the arena wiped tears from their eyes as Rick desperately held back his. And with arms wrapped around the captain of his 1996 national championship team, Rick Pitino was once again part of Big Blue Nation. It's hard not to romanticize sports in a moment like that.
Well, it's important to understand Mark Pope hasn't lost a game yet. So let's see what happens when he does.